The kidnapping and execution of 12 Nepalese workers in Iraq in 2004 shocked the world. It also put the spotlight on the exploitation of foreigners brought to Iraq as part of the multi-billion-dollar reconstruction program. Now, Al Jazeera attempts to uncover just how that movement of workers happens.
We've heard that you have a good reputation.
I can send anybody to any country, but it's a risk without legal procedures.
We hid cameras in this hotel room and then arranged this meeting between two workers and a contract broker.
With regard to Iraq and Afghanistan, people go there to work as guards and security personnel because it pays very well. A lot of people send workers to Iraq. I've been doing it for quite a while.
Even though this broker knew it was illegal to take workers to Iraq, he found a way to get around the law.
We're going to take you to India, Kuwait, then Iraq. At every stopover you'll get a visa. But be careful, don't mention to anyone that you paid money for this. My share is $300 for every person.
The major need in Iraq continues to be medical care, and qualified doctors are helping the middlemen recruit.
There's a group of Nepali doctors which arranges for nurses to be sent to Iraq. These doctors have a medical research unit here in Nepal. In Iraq, a war is raging, and they need nurses at an American base, surrounded by Nepali guards. With regard to visas, well, the doctors have their own ways of getting them. Once you've been approved and you get the job, then you pay the doctors here in Nepal.
But hiring standards are lax, and there are some suggestions that some medical workers are unqualified.
I asked several of the nursing staff, do you know what this medication is? Do you know what this is? Do you know what this is? And none of them knew what it was. Well, my question there to the State Department project manager was, how can they be giving this medication to anybody if they don't know what it is?
And according to some observers, it's not only in the field of medicine that ill-qualified workers have been hired.
They referred to these contractors that would provide the laborers as body shops. Basically, just bring me warm bodies. We're putting them on the battlefield. These are just stories people have told me. I can't say that every contractor is this way, but I've heard it repeatedly.
And there's concern as well about the treatment laborers get.
They were given food in barrels, sometimes cardboard boxes with a plastic garbage bag, and then throw in rice and chicken or fish heads or whatever, cook it up, and that's what they'd eat twice a day. Sometimes they didn't have enough water.
They spend as little money as possible on both food and security and lodging, and if people complain about it, well, see ya. So this all leads to abuses. And there's many more stories, of course, of individual abuse, but overall there's a pattern of getting the cheapest possible labor, spending the least amount of money, and if you don't like it, tough, it's my way or the highway. And these people are stuck in Iraq. It's not like they're in Idaho where they can just get on a bus and go home. They're stuck in probably the world's most dangerous place, without money to get home, without tickets, without even sometimes passports or visas.
Not all of this has gone without notice in Washington. Questions have been raised, particularly in relation to the huge US embassy project in Baghdad. Those questions led to a fact-finding tour by the Inspector General of the State Department. But the conclusion suggested no cause for concern. Workers, said the study, were not being mistreated. Hiring practices were fair, and there was a complete rejection of concerns that cheap imported labor was costing Iraqi workers jobs in their own country.
The contractors in Iraq provide some very valuable services that the Iraqi people aren't able to do yet. They drive logistics trucks, they drive water trucks, they help build bridges, they help build roads, they help build schools. There's a lot of contractors that are helping rebuild the economic infrastructure of the country of Iraq right now. So they're providing a very valuable service until we can get Iraqis back doing those jobs again.
But critics disagree.
Once again, it begs the question, I mean, with unemployment running 30 to 80% in Iraq, why aren't Iraqis benefiting from these huge, massive, multi-billion-dollar contracts?
No big contracts! No big contracts! No big contracts! Corporate welfare! Corporate!
We are ashamed of Halliburton. We say tear up the contracts with Halliburton, give the money to Iraqis to rebuild their own country, and get Dick Cheney and George Bush out of the White House.
Iraq occupation is made possible through the use of human trafficking. We know that there are workers from poor countries around the world that have been recruited to work in Iraq for a series of multinational corporations or powerful U.S. companies. So, I mean, human trafficking is what makes the occupation of Iraq tenable for the U.S. You have a failure to actually work with official nation states, and so you just go in and you recruit their individual citizens, taking advantage of their economic depravity.
The United States says it's committed to fighting third world poverty, but that's a promise some see as forgotten in the nightmare of Iraq.
Unfortunately, the values of the United States have become so discarded in this war because of the rush, because of the mismanagement, because of the lack of pre-planning. They just threw Halliburton on the ground and said, hire people. We need this built. We need this built. We need this built. And Halliburton was just hiring the first person to walk up the street.
An average person off the street could end up in Iraq doing anything from security to medical care to construction.
And when I was in Iraq, there were 4 Gurkhas killed just a few yards from where I was. Like a mortar came and landed on their tent and killed them because they were sleeping. And at the same time, I was discussing with one of the American contractors the difficulties it had getting an American contractor home. I can't imagine what it would take to send a poor Nepalese ex-soldier back to Nepal.
The rent-a-soldier world clearly has different levels. The highly respected former Gurkhas are at or near the top. Someone like LAXMI PRASAD, though, was a mere novice. A cook by trade, he was soon learning how to shoot to kill.
They first asked me, do you know how to use a weapon? Have you ever seen arms before? Then they gave me general training in the use of weapons. If you succeed, you become a security guard. When I proved my marksmanship, they said, he'll do. That's how I was chosen. The training we got in Jordan wasn't very good. Just simple lessons on how to get away in emergencies, or how to rain down a shower of bullets, or how to save yourself during a bombardment. I never received any arms training in Nepal. They then gave me a weapon with 9 bullets and advised me to use it in emergencies, and then it was on to Baghdad.
Prasad is back in Nepal now, proud of his certificate of appreciation and seemingly oblivious to the danger he faced.
This certificate was given to us by the commanding officer of an American base as a memento of our assignment. It will also come in useful in the future if I decide to immigrate to the US. I was very happy and I was very lucky to have received such an appreciation from the American government for an assignment I carried out in a country like Iraq.
Prasad may dream of American citizenship, but there are no such dreams for Ramesh Khadka. Khadka never had a chance to judge what he may have achieved by working for an American firm in Iraq. Lured by the promise of a better life, he was executed in a brutal fashion. And his story underlines not only the continuing dangers of Iraq, but it also gives us a glimpse of the dark side of America's reconstruction efforts, a side some people see as completely unacceptable.
I think that is gross violation of human rights, what the United States government is doing there. Occupying another country and using the people from other countries. They use in the front, the local people, then the police, another will be army, then only, they will go at the 4th row, that kind of thing. They are doing in different countries in the past also. It's not very new. But what they are doing in Iraq, we condemn.
What I see is a radical subversion of sovereignty around the world. Sovereignty of countries in Latin America and Asia whose personnel or troops are being recruited. They're being paid significantly less than U.S. personnel to deploy in a very dangerous war zone. So the Bush administration is taking advantage of the economic instability of a lot of countries, recruiting up their forces, sometimes from countries that were against the war in the first place, declined to participate in the occupation.
It's a long way from Baghdad to Kathmandu, but now the war has entered the lives of Nepalese people in a way they never expected. While some have benefited, Many others have seen their dreams of a new and better life shattered.